What's up, Hudson? First off, thank y'all so much for having us here. We really love this little sweet little town you have. Everybody looks so beautiful. There's so many families. And being here at Pride has always been such an important thing in both of our lives. I remember going to Pride when I first came out. My first time coming out was at 14, and my second time coming out was at 25 as trans. But I remember first coming out as a teenager and being a part of Pride, and having my parents come out, and getting to see whole families, and really understanding that we're all participating and celebrating our lives. And so from going from being on the sidelines and watching the parade, to being in New York City Pride the last 4 years in a row, to being the Grand Marshals at this Pride, this has been so welcoming. This has been really full circle for me.
It's such an honor for me to be here. I grew up in Trinidad. I'm like a little girl from an island who moved to Canada, who just moved to New York about a year ago when we got married. So to be here is just such an honor, to be so welcomed by New York. It's just really, really, really special. I've been doing this work within queer and trans community for the past 11 years. I have always dedicated my life to it. I can't imagine doing anything else. Pride was always this source of incredible excitement for me. I always call it our queer holy holidays. For me, it is the most, one of the most important times of the year, where I didn't grow up with a lot of a family. He has a really big family, and I don't really have a lot of biological family. And so for me, getting into Pride was getting connected to all of this chosen family. And I love the ways that LGBT folks remake family and reimagine family. And being in that car, driving down the street, it was so amazing to see so many different configurations of families. There was one little girl with the sweetest shirt that said, "I love my two dads." And that just broke my whole heart. I love getting to see that. And for us, this Pride is particularly special because we're 10 weeks pregnant. So we're expecting our first little baby. And it was really exciting to see all of the ways in which family was brought together at this space to really inspire us, because we're going to be reimagining our Prides kind of going forward. They're going to look a little different from the way they looked in the past.
And I think, as a media professional and as a media advocate, I can't stress to all of you how important it is to tell your stories. Looking at all of us here, it's such a diversity of folks, black folks and white folks and brown folks and older people and young people and children and queer and trans and LGBT people. It's so important for us to take up space and tell our stories. There's so many times that we're told that we're not enough, that we aren't worthy to be loved, that we don't have a place in this world. But being here with all of you shows that we all have a place, and we all have a place right here with each other. So take up that space, tell your stories, go talk to the media, get on your Twitter, get on your Instagram and your Facebook, and be the voice of discontent. Be the voice of revolutionary change, be the voice of radical change. All the power starts here with us.
And for me, I always think about the fact that the first Prides were riots. There were people who fought so hard so that we could take up the space that we have now. And I'm so grateful for every moment that we get to celebrate. And when we celebrate, we have to remember those of us who don't have the privilege to celebrate, who are still doing a lot of that work fighting. And we have to make sure we're always fighting for the people who aren't here, the folks that we don't get to see, so that we're making more space for all of us to be here. I want a Pride that has more and more and more of us, and more multiplicity, because diversity is where our strength comes from. It is absolutely not something to be afraid of. It is absolutely something to embrace in the biggest ways possible. So I always like to think about our community as not fractions, but layers. Multitudes of experiences that none of them negate each other. They all complicate and make each other so much more richer. So thank you so much from both of us for having us in this space and getting us to celebrate Pride with you. It has been such an honor to be here.
Yes, thank y'all so much. And have a great Pride. Thank you.